Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us. Hey girl, had a long day, you tired from work. Throw me some dollars and I remove my shirt. You can touch me too, these are the perks. Free yourself, lose your mind and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk.
Make way for the bad guy.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crowd Pleaser, the podcast that brings you the inside scoop on what it takes to be a male entertainer in today's age. I'm your host, Caesar the Crowd Pleaser, and on this episode 46 of the podcast, we're actually going to be bringing on a legend in the male entertainment industry. I've had the pleasure and honor of working with him across several years. He's moved from club to club, just training other up-and-coming rookies and things like that. He is a name that people and families across multiple generations know. Let me go ahead and bring him on the show. He's been dancing for over 40 years now and is also known as the Playgirl Man of the Decade, which is no small feat to accomplish. I want to welcome my really good friend and mentor, Randy the Master Blaster. How you doing, boss?
I'm great, Caesar. What's up, buddy?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Just coming off of a great weekend with the reunion party and seeing you and sharing a stage with you again, stuff like that. How'd it go for you?
That was awesome, man. After being gone from Dallas for 3 years and not getting to see you and the guys and not, being able to basically dance on the stage in the house that I built, that technically and figuratively speaking, I designed that whole club and built it. It's just like my home. It's like being back home. So that feeling of going home can't be replaced. And just had a great time. Pardon me. Just seeing all the ladies in Dallas and having such a good. In my 40 years experience at La Bear, having danced and owned the club for 10 years, I've never seen a crowd come in that busy with the weather as bad as it was. So. We had the horrible weather, it was storming. I mean,
no kidding. Yeah, they flooded the road right outside the club.
It couldn't even get on the street that we're on after 11:30, and we still had 400 girls. So that was just astounding. Just a big testament to like how the Dallas ladies are. When we're having a fun event, they want to come see their guys, and hopefully I had a big part of that.
Oh yeah, it was a homecoming for you.
It sure was. I enjoyed it. Just want to come back home, man.
I understand that. All right. Well, like I said, we're gonna have Randy on the show. We're gonna go ahead and interview him and his massive history in the industry. We're gonna be focusing primarily on him, but I would like to have him back on the show eventually to go in depth a little bit about the history of La Bear and stuff like that. But like I said, I feel like his personal history and tour down this is enough to cover at least one show. So we'll bring him on strictly for him right now.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's going to enjoy it. I know I enjoy hearing your stories and just kind of the thought process you've gone through multiple ways to get to where you're at now and stuff like that. So let's see. So let me go ahead and do a little bit of housekeeping real quick. First things first, I want to thank my Patreons out there at patreon.com/crowdpleaser. It's you all that really makes a difference. I appreciate if you're getting something out of this show or some of the content I create, whether it's my cosplay, my modeling, my shows at La Bear, my aerial stuff. Go in there and can pledge a little bit. It could be as little as $1 a show to all kinds of different tiers that get you all kinds of perks like prints and behind the scenes footage and stuff like that. So thank you to all my patrons on there and all my upcoming patrons. Like even just $1 a show makes a big difference. So thank you again. Patreon.com/crowdpleaser. And we'll give a special shout out to one of my patrons on the show, Cheyenne. Thank you. You rock. I appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying the photos. Next up is La Bear, Dallas. This is my home office. I operate there 5 nights a week, Wednesday to Sunday, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. The party doesn't stop till the lights come on. And honestly, ladies, if you are rocking it, we typically stay open a little bit past that. So it doesn't matter if it's a bachelorette party, birthday party, divorce party, graduation party, you name it, we're your best destination. So definitely check us out. Randy, you want to go ahead and mention the gallery for me?
Yeah, I'm currently in San Antonio working at a club called The Gallery. It was previous a full-time, 5-day-a-week male entertainment club, but about 4 months ago, it changed to a normal club, and we do a male review show from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And at 10 p.m. the male review show stops, and it turns into a regular dance club with men and women. And it's they play good music, and it's busy. It's just a little, it's different than dancing in a full-time male dance club because it's more of a male review show.
All right. Now, one thing that both clubs are still available to do full time are private parties. Randy is actually the one that taught me how to do them. I've kind of continued on that tradition, teaching our new guys and various entertainers come through. So you're still available for private parties down there in San Antonio, correct?
Absolutely. I still have a picture of the first part show that we went to on my phone.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I actually think I saw that.
Remember that Mexican food restaurant?
Yeah, I totally
Yeah.
remember that.
I
It was a really good time.
I still have a picture on my phone. So it was a good time. Remember we were standing up in the chairs taking pictures?
Yep, I remember that one. It was
great
it's a
show.
fond memory. It definitely is, and I learned a lot. And yeah, it's still great. And the same kind of great show that you see Randy and myself perform at our various stages, we bring it right to your private venue. Doesn't matter if it's your private home, hotel room, or like Randy said, we even did it at a Mexican restaurant. We'll come out there and have a great time. So definitely don't miss out on that if you can. We'll have both mine and Randy's contact information at the end of the show, so you can reach out to us if you need be. All right. That covers everything. Oh, I take that back. One more thing. We also at La Bear Dallas, we're going to have the International Dance Off, which is one of our biggest strip offs of the year. That's going to be going on at the end of November 21st. So definitely check it out. You're going to be coming in town for that,
It's
correct?
November 16th, isn't it?
Oh, November 16th. Okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Thanks
I'm definitely coming in for that night, and I'm coming for the whole week. So I'll be dancing at the club Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I believe the strip off is Friday, November 16th. And I mean, it's always the biggest event of the year. It's going to be crowded, super packed. Ladies really need to reach out and book their reservations now so they can have a great guaranteed table. And they run specials and stuff like that. And ladies, just to let you know, tickets are available for free entry. If you contact Caesar or myself, we can arrange free tickets for you and anybody who wants to come in with the entry for the club.
Yeah, thanks. Awesome. You know what? I think I got mixed up because the reunion party was the 21st, right?
Yeah,
That
that's
might
correct.
be. Yeah, that might be
Yeah,
why I
that's
have the dates
exactly what it
mixed up.
was.
But thanks. I appreciate it. All right. So, excuse me. So, going right into it, Randy, let's go ahead and dive in because I feel like you have a wealth of wisdom and knowledge to pass on to us, and our reviewers are probably extremely interested because your name is still being whispered and sometimes yelled at throughout the clubs and the city streets. I hear it all the time. Anytime someone asks me where I work at and let them know, they've either seen me throughout the years, but they definitely ask if you're still around because they remember seeing you. So, let's start at the very beginning. What got you into dancing?
Well, I just gone to college for a semester and was just out of high school and only went one semester and actually was wanting to play football on a scholarship and I separated my shoulder. So I've always been interested in a gym, kind of a gym rat, whatever, like I just love working out. I was very athletic, boxed on gloves, ran track, played football. So I was recovering from that injury and kind of focusing on doing some bodybuilding contests. I won my first bodybuilding contest when I was a sophomore in high school. So I was rehabbing my shoulder and going to do some contests. And my best friend who lived in Dallas called me and said, "Hey, there's this club just opened up here in Dallas, and guys are dancing for girls." And I said, "Get out of here!" I didn't believe him because he's a big jokester. I thought he was just telling a story, just messing with me. So he goes, "No, turn on the TV on PM Magazine." PM Magazine was like the first, like Inside Edition. It's the first news program that had a local, state, and national level story. So the Dallas story was the state level, and they had the first LeBaire opened in Dallas in the Bachman Lake area on Northwest Highway. It opened November 1st, 1978. I started February 12th, 1979. My best friend who lived up here, I was coming. It's so weird how that happened. I was coming to see him in a week anyway. So he goes, "Come here." And I turned PM Magazine on, and watching PM Magazine, it was a view from a helicopter that was up above the club.
Okay.
It was there was probably a line close to a mile long at 5:30 in the afternoon of women, and they didn't let men in. Only women were allowed in. And of course, La Bear Dallas was the first full-time male dance club in the United States of America. So, it's what brought it. There had been cage dancing in New Orleans and some offshoot type things in different cities, some stuff in Chicago, but there wasn't a full time male dance club that was a male cabaret, 4 or 5 days a week. And actually, back then, La Bear was open 7 days a week. So I saw all the business they had, and I moved my visit up a week, and I came up from San Antonio to Dallas, and we just drove over there, and I asked the gentleman if I could apply as a waiter or a doorman. He shut that stuff down pretty quick. Of course, I was in really good shape, and young, athletic. I was a cowboy all my life. So the guys that I saw dancing there, they were older. They were all mostly in their early to mid 30s, and because I guess it was so new that people didn't know about it, and I guess younger guys just didn't have a chance to, even think about going in there. But I was only 19 and maybe 18, I'm not sure. But we went in there, and the manager of the whole club was a big bodybuilder, so we immediately hit it off. He was about 240, 250, built up, did competition. So his name was Jimmy, and we immediately hit it off. And he said, because I'd gone by in the afternoon, and we had talked to him, and he said, well, we're not hiring waiter positions. I said, what about a bartender I could be trained? He said, no, I'm good on my bartenders. I said, what about a doorman? He said, it's all girls. We don't use a doorman. The Dallas police are here. So I said, he goes, you know what? I've got a position. I got some of y'all come back and see me at 7:30. So what he wanted us to do is he wanted us to see the crowd. And so we left and came back. Oh my God. And when we came back, it was just like, the movie Gremlins, where you open the door and they all have water sprayed on them, whatever, and they're swinging from the ceiling fans and turned upside down in a blender.
Yep.
It's the only way I can describe walking through those doors. Because, at that age and that time, I'd
Just
never
sheer chaos.
It was pure chaotic craziness. It was the 80s, and there was heavy drinking, but you'd never seen women in that kind of environment. And I think women are so cute, have so much more fun than men when they like to party in groups, and then they do cheerleader type stuff, and they're doing they do things in groups, and it was insanity. It was so much fun. So there was that night we were standing around, and I had a T-shirt on. It had Superman emblem on the front, said Randy the Master Blaster on the back, and that was a kind of an oxymoron, funny thing. There was a nickname in high school from me talking about bodybuilding all the time, from the originator of bodybuilding in the world, Joe Weider, and he owned the IFBB. His nickname was the Master Blaster, and Arnold Schwarzenegger gave him that nickname. So I knew all that from reading their books, and I kind of threw it around the name. So I got that nickname in high school. So it's just so funny I was wearing that shirt. So a little while later, he said, hey, we're doing an amateur contest. I want you to go up and do it. And I said, nah, I'm not going to get up on stage and dance. And then some girls were standing there, and they talked me into it. So there's 6 of us. And I was the 2 guys went out. I was the 3rd guy out. And I went out there, and it was just insanity. Never heard a scream that loud, a person at football games and stuff like that. When you did well, you heard screams, but this is so intense and so close. It was just, there's no feeling like that when people are screaming for you. Only the people who are in rock bands or country bands or people who are performing like that can get that feeling of adulation. It feels wonderful. So I danced up there, and I spun around, and the DJ goes, ladies from San Antonio, or Cowboy Randy. He had an echo pedal, and he hit the echo pedal, and the pedal said, Master Blaster, Master Blaster, Master Blaster. I don't know, like 10 times. And I did my finger like no, like that to him back at the bar. And I was going like Randy. So then he did it again in a little while, and from then on,
It just stuck.
it stuck. I was Randy the Master Blaster. So I did, I won the contest. Probably made about 300 on stage, and then the guy who ran the place, he was sharp. I got off stage, and later on, guys told me that he never done that before, but he wanted me to get such a taste of it. He goes, well, I went over to him. I said, "How did I do?" He goes, "Oh man, you did good." And he goes, when you win, you got to dance second, third stage too. And I was just dancing with no shirt and pants on. The other guys had on G strings. So I said, okay, whatever. So I made $630 for the night. I
Your
danced
very first night dancing.
Yeah. I danced main stage, second stage. I was there maybe total hour and a half.
Yeah. So let me ask you, did you have any kind of a dancing background, even as a hobby or anything like that? Or was that?
As a hobby, big time as a hobby. I grew up, my dad had a ranch. I grew up very country western, so I really loved country music. And my mom, when I was little, my mom's Mexican, so she was very liked Hispanic music, and just the cumbia and all that. She used to put my feet on her little feet when I was little, and she would do dances with me and stuff. So I got exposed to dancing quite a bit at a young age. I was very comfortable with going out and dancing at the dances in elementary school or junior high school. I was like, if you went from a scale to 1 to 100, I was a 99, 98, 98, 99. I was going to be the first person out on the floor dancing by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like it was just kind of built in me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've always thought to myself, why have I done so well for so long? And I just, over a long period of time, I just say, I have a genetic package. I'm not the best looking guy. I'm not the best built guy. I'm not the best dancer, but I consider myself to be the most focused businessman. And I really love women because that's how my grandmother and my mom raised me. I love women. I think women are precious, and I like to treat them nice. And that's not, that's just not everybody. But in saying what I was saying was, I've never been the best looking guy, best built guy, best dancer, but I think I have the best. I'm decent at all those, but I think I have the best package in total. Because my business side, I always looked at my dancing career as a business from day one. And a lot of people don't look at it like a business. I was always trying to improve my show. I was the first person to ever have a business card, first person to ever have a poster, first person, I was so proud of my job. I would talk about it. What's on your mouth is on your mind. What's on your mind is on your mouth. I would talk about it everywhere I went. So I would think one of my really good qualities is meeting people and them getting to know you personally and see your personality, know you're an okay guy. And then outside of the club, and then they come see me perform, and they go, "Oh, that's just my guy,"
Mm-hmm.
And then when they see you and you're very high quality, like your show's amazing. Sometimes I can't tell you how many times I've stopped on second, third stage and just go, "Man, that's my boy. He's really bringing it." Whether it's the fire or all the imaginative costuming that you do, and just how the choreo, being like a pro level choreographer. Just how you put these things together is just like twins. It's just amazing to me.
Well, thanks, boss. I appreciate that. Just trying to step it up. One of the things I've always approached things with an open mind and tried to gather as much wisdom as I can, especially from the people that are A, successful, and B, willing to give it, which you are definitely part of both. So, it wasn't long before I had posters. Once you told me, hey, look, this is a good thing to have. People take them home. They share them with other people. Same thing with business cards, photos, all those things, the kind of charisma you share on stage.
Yeah,
So I feel like it would be counter productive of me to not take advantage of such a wealth of knowledge and the fact that you're willing to openly share it. I remember there were plenty of times where we were in the back just kind of think tanking stuff and doing minor discussions about just the career and the business and all that stuff in general. It's free education. Why not take it?
I'd have to say in 40 years, you're one of the top 5 guys, you, Alex, Matt, and a couple others, that the thing that makes you different is that you ask questions and you wanted to accept what I was telling you. And the number one thing that makes you like become successful so fast is your determination, and then you take action. I would tell you, okay, this and this works. And a lot of people, they talk it but they don't walk it, you know what I mean? You took action on the things I told you, and you saw the successfulness from it. Then you would put even more of your own personality on it. So that's why, one of the reasons why you became so successful so fast. And then of course, I feel like with you and some of the other really, really good guys, whether it's you, Alex, or Matt, or Brady, whoever, I feel like I have a hand in your successfulness, and that's a feeling that's hard to replicate when you see somebody up on stage coming from a shop boy, a waiter, or whatever, or just not ever, dancing in small venues and doing this and not being even bare credible. But then you work with them a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. The next thing you know, they're a headliner at the club. It's a feeling that is very satisfying.
Oh yeah,
And
100%. I feel that way whenever I see Jason and like
I,
Richie do what they
I,
do in stage. They're incredible.
I was watching him the other night. And I said, "Man, you put a lot in his show's incredible, man. Like, you've done a great job." It's just you and I's personalities are very alike in many ways with our family structure, how we live our lives, and I never, went to work to drink or never did any drugs, and all that kind of stuff is, you can go through 10,000 guys in 40 years, but very few of the guys have that same background. And that's part of the reason why you're so successful. And part of the same reason that I've been successful is the reasons why you're successful too.
So let me ask you this: what was the click point, or what things kind of pieced it together for you when you made the decision or knew that this was going to be a lifelong career for you, or you were going to go the distance in the industry? Because obviously you've been doing it long enough to see that really the majority of people that do this for a short period of time, and it's
Yeah,
the few that
3 to
stand out
5
that do
years.
it for a long time. So what were the decisions, or what was the point in where you knew this was going to be something you were going to do long term? And then B, what are the factors that have kept you going year after year after you're doing this?
Uh, two different answers. A is, now clarify the question. It's when the actual point was that I knew I was going to do this for as long as I could, like a lifetime career.
Yes, sir.
I came in with the attitude that this is my job, and I'm going to do my job to my best abilities. And after the second week, I made $3,000 in a week. And there's nothing you can do without a college education and make $3,000 a week that's legal that I know of. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was young. I was 19. So I got to thinking, I'm making this kind of money. I love it. It's fun. It's legal. There's nothing wrong with it. And I said, this is what went through my mind. So all my peers have 4 years of college to go to. They're not making anything. And anything they are making, they're going to spend on school. So my first year, I saved $53,000 cash. And by the end of my third year, I had $250,000 saved. So I'm a good, it's just one of the things I like to save money. I'm not a big extravagant. You've seen I don't dress extravagantly. I wear boots and tennis shoes and jeans and stuff. So I knew in my head that all my peers, now they may graduate and be a rocket scientist or a cardiologist, but even if they're going to be a doctor or a lawyer, they have 4 more years after those 4 years to finish school to actually be in the workforce working. I'm working immediately and making the kind of money a surgeon or a lawyer would make in their first 2 or 3 years. So I was saying, I'm going to be ahead of my peer group by 4 years. At the end of 4 years, they're never going to catch up with me for the rest of their life. And if they're going to be a doctor or a lawyer at the end of 8 years, well, I've been trying to, at the end of my 6th year, I started trying to buy the club. I didn't get it done for 16, 17 years. I don't remember how long it was, but 17, I think. But, and the bottom line is, no matter how long you work at a job, do you love it? Do you like it? My grandfather told me something when I was young. He said, I didn't understand it then, but as I got a little more seasoned and a little older, I understand it so completely. He said, son, because I was doing things, I used to like yard work. In school, I started a lawn service. I sold beanbag chairs. I did things like that. I always liked the service industry where your personality and your work ethic could benefit you. So my grandfather told me, he said, son, get a job that you have passion for and you won't work a day in your life. And that's so true. If you love what you do, it's not like so many people in the world go to work and they're like, to go to my damn job, and they
Mm-hmm.
hated going to work. I love going to work. Still to this day, I was so excited Friday night to be there. I was giddy, you know what I mean?
Yes,
And
sir.
I was telling Caden, right before I went on stage and all the girls were coming down stage, I, start shaking a little bit. And I said, still after 40 years, man, I get excited, you know?
Yeah, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling because the thing is, the one thing that I describe it as is the fact that it's never the exact same crowd.
Oh no, it's different. That's another thing too. It's just different every day of the week, every week of the year, every month of the year. It's it's an ongoing. It changes, and so you change what you do and adapt to who's there. I mean, that's one of the things you're really good at. Like I've seen you do maybe more Latin music if there's more Latin girls there, more hip hop for another crowd, and then I see do country if it's more of a country crowd, and that's one of the things that you understand that maybe some newer people wouldn't understand. You have the ability to ask. Of course, very in the beginning, I remember walking you to the stage and put my arm around your shoulder and say, "What do you see?" Right by the DJ, because look at the crowd and go, "What do you see?" And I said, "You said women." And I said, well, now you see the women. You have to assess the women and see what kind of crowd it is. And you picked that up like awesomely. So
Thank
that's
you, boss.
a big part of your successfulness is that you know who you're dancing for and you tailor your show for them. Not that all your shows aren't very high level because they are, especially the choreography and the costuming, but it's just those little intrinsic qualities, loving what you do, being happy at work, being respectful of women, which you get from your mom and your family, same as I did. And that stuff always comes through.
Yeah, I have a good mentor. What can I tell you? I had a so
Well, if somebody's want to be a boxer, they should get like Mike Tyson or some of those successful people, or they want to be a quarterback. Get Tom Brady to show you. Luckily, I mean, you started at the best male dance club in the world, and you had me to show you. But it was our relationship and me, how I like you as a person, which really built, started the relationship for us working together.
yeah, most definitely. And I've told people that before. It's ironic because I'm originally from Miami, but I started dancing while I was living here in Dallas,
Yeah.
and I admit it. I'm almost 95% positive that if I had started dancing in Florida, in Miami or Fort Lauderdale, I probably wouldn't have made it. It was just the collection of the perfect storm, the
It
perfect
was so
minor
yeah.
events and details that led me to work at Dallas, and Dallas being the club that I can kind of vibe with, and having your
Mhm.
mentorship and Alex and some of the other veterans that were around to Taylor Cole and
Yeah,
guide me
totally.
in a way where I was able to sustain, and the women, of course, like every club has its own kind of crowd, and the women at at Dallas definitely welcomed me and allowed me to continue to push and stuff like that, which is one of the reasons why you've done it for so long. So one
It's
of the other
guys like you and Taylor that the club stays so successful. You have to have the guys who are committed to their job, have great character. I met Taylor first time he was 16 years old. First time he tried to work, I think he was 17. You know, so it's his whole life. You know, I think it was out doing a show at Southern Junction or somewhere, and his family was there. And he's like, man, I want to do that. Then he became one of the best ever, if not, right now in his prime. I think he could compete against anybody. I really liked it when Angelo was peaking at his prime, and to have him and Taylor, competing in their prime at the same time, that was very satisfying, really enjoyable, fun thing to watch. To see my guys build up and become, who they were. Same with Alex, and when he became very successful very fast, one of the top strippogram guys ever, just and his show performance, he was meticulous. He wanted everything perfect. So it's all those intrinsic qualities that travel between the guys, and there's a good team there. We got some really good young guys, and we got some really great veterans.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to touch on is you've been around for a long time. You've seen a lot of change in the industry and things like that. So are there any evolutions or changes either to the women or the environment or the industry itself that kind of stand out to you throughout the years that you've seen, like from
Um,
your first years to now?
no, absolutely. I mean, I usually try to block things in decades or mostly, club locations. Let me just think off the top of my head. Some of the big things, because the drinking was really different in the early '80s, and then Matt Mo's Against Drunk Driving, their home office, and it created in Dallas, Texas. And I agree. That's a very you need to monitor the people drinking in your club and make sure nobody drives drunk. I mean, that's one thing when I owned the club, I was so meticulous on doing. Um, but that became really strong. When they changed the laws, you couldn't do 2 for 1, 3 for 1, or whatever. It seemed like took a little intensity, and the earlier crowd would get intensified earlier than later, and of course, because they've been drinking, a little bit. But as a club, it's your responsibility to make sure they don't leave drunk, and then everybody in there is adults. So, and the second thing that was a very very big difference is the club had been open for a while, and 18 and up could drink. And then they changed Mother Against Driving the legislation, and they took the drinking age from 18 to 21. And so for a while, maybe 3 or 4 months, they didn't let 18 to 21-year-olds in the club. And it really made a difference because they're so active in the fun part of the show, yelling, screaming, dancing, and it was definitely different. And so
Yeah,
then,
creating an atmosphere.
absolutely. And say a party of 6 ladies come and they have one minor. Well, she can't get in, so they don't come in. So that was the really big problem: is that there's mixed crowds of women, 4 adults, 2 minors, 6 adults, 1 minor, and when that minor can't come in, well, then they just go somewhere else, and you lose that whole uh, that women for the night. And maybe they're, several women in that crowd had never been before, and they're never going to be customers of the club because they didn't come in that one time. That was the second big event. And then where you're just obviously noticing, then they let 18 here about 3 or 4 months later, they let them come in, but they just marked them or put bands on them they couldn't drink. So then that leveled out. And the next thing was the first, I don't know how many years it was, but we used to be a little more, and I don't know if promiscuous is the right word, but we kissed girls on the mouth. And that stopped in 1990 or 91. And there was a little bit of blowback from that too. But other than that, those are the only like in club. Well, there's two more that you kind of heard customers complain about or have blowback or didn't like as much. Also, when we went from wearing the tee backs that just show a bigger part of your buttocks to
Mm-hmm.
the bathing suit, to the swim bathing suit bottoms that we wear now. When that happened, it was the same thing as when in the beginning when the 18-year-olds couldn't come in for a few months. The ladies really didn't like it. And they go, well, the girls can dance in G-strings, but why can't you guys? But that's just the evolution of the business.
Yeah.
It
And
leveled
what's
out.
what's what's funny is that part of that is kind of it's still a discussion today. Like I hear plenty of women come into the club and want us to wear less, and plenty of women come into the club and are glad that we're wearing what we're wearing.
Yeah.
So I think it's
I think girls would like it because it'd be more. So they don't have the difference between men and women is women are more fantasy oriented and they're not such driven to touch, and men are like uh, instant gratification. They want to see, they want to touch. That's how the topless bars are built. Well, we're not built like that. Girls want to see the show, they'll watch 15 guys to pick their favorite guy, and that's not happening in a topless club. You know that, and I know
Hmm.
that. So just men and women are different. Like the book, Men Are From Mars and Women Are From Venus. As soon as that came out, I read it. All it did was tell me things that my mother and grandmother and aunts had told me all my life. It was just real self-evident. But it also, you want to understand how the girls think so you can put on the best show for them. And I think girls would really have fun with it if we were wearing tea bags now. But I think that some girls might not come, because they can tell their husbands, boyfriends, or they can show pictures to family, and we're all wearing bathing suits. So I don't think they could do that if we were wearing G strings again. And I don't even, it's not even licensable in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah. The it man, I don't know. Like I think you're totally right. It's one of those mindsets that you really have to kind of get into the head of the woman. It's one of the things I tell guys when we have the discussion. I'm sure you've heard it plenty of times when we're trying to create a new show. It's like, hey, you have to double check your ideas because what idea might sound great to a bunch of guys may not translate over to an audience
Absolutely.
full of women, And
Oh, that's
so
funny.
it's kind of the same thing with the costuming and the underwear we end up wearing and things like that. The other
That's
question I actually have is, so you were saying that you guys, it used to be kiss and tip, literally, like you get a tip, you get a
Yes.
kiss, right?
Yes.
So like how solidified was that? Because what happens if you have someone come up to you with some serious bad hygiene? Like you just kind of
The
suck it
guys
up,
would just
or
the guys would just kiss them on the cheek, in that situation.
okay, fair enough, fair enough. Because I mean, I hate to admit it, but as adamant as we are about our own hygiene, especially when we're performing and stuff like that, there have been periodically nights where I'll get one or two women that just or and don't get me wrong, I understand sometimes sweating happens. There's a lot of people in there. The AC is maxed out, and people are
Right.
dancing, and having a good time. That happens, but like when it's some bad like breath and stuff like
Mhm.
that, like that one is kind of like a little disheartening. But so yeah, I couldn't imagine like having to get really close to every person like that.
Well, anytime that you service the community, you're going to have a wide spectrum of things. You just have to look at it like from a business. And the one thing I never wanted to do while I was on stage is I didn't want a lady feeling like because of her looks or maybe how she's built or maybe her skin color for any reason. I don't see skin colors, and I wanted her to feel like a princess too. So if a lady came up there and she had something correlating where I didn't want, to kiss her in the normal way, then I would spend more time dancing for her, make her feel special
Oh yeah,
and
for sure. Every
doing the hand to hand combat, more, being silly with her, put my cowboy hat on her, dance a little bit more. So it all worked out. It worked out like that. But I mean, it's just the evolution of of society. Really, is like in the '70s and '80s. Things were a little more uh, free, free flowing, and then as we went through the '90s, you know, things tightened up a little bit, and it just became more of a business. And I think you really don't, and because of things in society, you really don't need to be kissing everybody on the mouth. Because I mean, quite a few times I have girls ask me, "Aren't you worried?" You know, about this, that, or the other. I said, you know what? I'm just doing it real lightly and briefly. And quite a few girls, if they liked you a lot, they didn't like seeing you kiss all the other girls. So it made things, it honestly, for the one or two girls or three that came in that night, he for sure wanted to walk up and kiss. It honestly, when it stopped the kissing, um, it honestly made things better.
I think so. I feel
Yeah,
like it,
it's
it
just more of a friendly type relationship, And then if a girl, everybody likes something different. Everybody, we're supposed to be professionals, but as well as I do, we've seen very attractive women there that became our friends and possibly girlfriends after that. So those girls, and I had one. Her name was Stacy Sanchez. We were boyfriend girlfriend from 1990 to 97. So every time she came, and she was a Miss March in Playboy 1995, and she's Playmate of the Year in 1996. So she was very attractive, but she made a point of every time she wanted me to kiss her 3 times as long as anybody in there. And if I didn't do it, she was mad. So she basically wanted to show everybody, like, okay, he's mine, So that's just not really in the avenue of good business.
Yeah.
So I think it got way better after we stopped doing that. It more of a business and more level playing field for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one of the easiest ways to make sure that you're able to treat every single person equally,
Yeah, that's
regardless
very
of the
important.
situation or what's going on. And that's why I like that, because at the end, you're correct. Every single woman that walks through those doors is just that, regardless of any other detail. And they
She's a
have just as
princess.
much uh, deserving to be happy and made felt special as anyone else in there.
And there was quite a few guys that didn't want to do it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So then it would be a situation, like girls would say, well, I tipped that guy over there, he kissed me, and you won't, so it became a situation. But I mean, the end of that was a good thing for the guys and the club and the customers also.
Yeah.
But that's out of those 4 things that I reviewed, those were the 4 kind of revolutionary changing things in society that had an effect on the club where you could say it was actually a wow moment
Yeah.
where you're like, wow, it's different.
Yeah, I can imagine that some of those, especially like the drinking age and stuff like that, really turns things upside down,
Yeah.
practically overnight.
No,
So,
they changed it one day. It was overnight. There was some really unhappy people.
oh yeah, I can imagine. It's something that they were used to for who knows how many months or weeks or years. All of a
Years.
sudden is
It was years. I mean, they look so much forward to that. I'm turning 18. I can just like they do now when they're 21.
yeah,
So, but I think a lot of people are drinking now, just at home and at their home parties and stuff like that before they're
yeah,
21.
pre gaming and whatnot. So
That's so funny to
what
say that word.
let's focus a little more on you again, and what are
Okay.
some of the high points in your career, like some of the points that really stand out to you, that kind of, looking back, you're like, yeah, they're either really good times with the friends or really high points in your career, or something that made you feel like you've achieved greatness in this, some stuff like that.
Oh man, there's so many of them. I'm just going to try and think openly off the top of my
Yeah, a
head.
couple. Maybe they don't have to be like exactly by order or anything like
Uh,
that, and I don't want to call anyone out by being your favorite or not favorite high point. So
yeah, I mean, just in the very beginning, after dancing a little while, my mom was in a different city, and so I moved her to Dallas at about 6 months after I started dancing, and because we both were living in San Antonio, so you had to organize, had to stay our lease out. I got a place for us in Dallas, and this is the first time that she came and got to physically see me dance. I was a little nervous about it, but my mom has always been such a supporter of me in anything that I do, and like all my sports. It didn't matter if I was in Pee Wee football, boxing. She came to everything. She drove me to everything. She would miss a thing. So I wouldn't say I was worried, but I was definitely, um, you know, con- concerned, I guess would be the right word, that if she saw the environment and she didn't like it for me, my mom, I mean, you love her to death. She often visited many times I wasn't even there. And she would she would tell me, hey, I don't want this for you. And so I told her before she came, it's like being in a sport. I compete with all the other guys. I love the competitive nature of it. And it's just like a college review show. And, first night, she came, she just down at main stage, just saying, that's my son. He's the best here. And, just that's how from day one that she looked at it. And that was a big, you know, it was a moment for me, which I was very settling and said, okay, well now the whole, in my mind, besides my mother, I didn't care what anybody else thought in my life about my job. I was a grown man. I'm going to do what makes me happy. But my mother, I was definitely concerned with how she was going to relate to it, and which I'm sure you were too. But it came off really well, really, really well. Let's see. Doing some of the first like big shows that we did where they would, like even though the clubs were open, LeBaire was open in San Antonio, LeBaire was open in Dallas. These big convention centers saw the amount of business, and they would offer the owners or managers of LeBaire, um, a really great deal on their facility, or, say if they serve drinks, they say, okay, you keep the door, we'll take the drinks from the club. It's almost a free way you're getting paid to advertise your business. So here in Dallas and in San Antonio, we would do these big shows, big venues, that hold 3,000-4,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
And like in the beginning, I guess because my name was so different and talked about, all the venues said we have to have the Master Blaster guy. So that was really, something that really it's a total stranger giving you a compliment that feels so good. That you're wanted. Everybody wants to be wanted and respected for what they do at a high level. So that was, a really good moment for me.
Let me actually touch on that for a second. It's actually kind of humorous because I've had a couple of people approach me because you introduce yourself as Randy the Master Blaster,
Yeah.
and occasionally, someone will be like, does he really introduce himself like that to everyone? And I say yes, and it's actually extremely genius of you. And the reason being is it's much like Caesar the crowd pleaser and stuff like that. You could say any kind of name in the world and there's a 50-50 chance that someone will remember you by it. But now you
Absolutely.
add something that's out of the norm, something a little catchy, i.e. Randy the
Moniker.
Master Blaster. Like you
Right.
said, we,
Moniker.
we want that Master Blaster guy. So even if they forgot the Randy part, there's only one Master Blaster. And so, yeah, you introduce yourself like that to everyone because that's the name that's going to stick. And that's what they're going to
Yeah.
recall later on down the line, whether it's in the night or in the week or in a year. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to touch on that. That's actually,
Yeah. In
despite.
the beginning, I was just doing it out of kind of advertising. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I did it, but very soonly, maybe a year or two into it, so many people remembered that name and would say, walk up to me in the gym, guys, and go, "Are you the Master Blaster?" I mean, it happened. It's happened 10,000 times in my life. Girls walk in the club, "Are you the Master Blaster?" I mean, like you said, it's a really um, advantageous marketing tool.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. I get it periodically. I get people hitting me up like Mr. Crowd Pleaser, hey Crowd Pleaser, this and that. So,
Well, biggest part of you is that you back it up and you are the crowd pleaser.
well, thanks,
So
boss.
it fits you perfect.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Um, let's see. One thing I want to touch on because I'm actually gonna possibly do an episode about this is, and you don't have to get into specifics by no means, but I can imagine because I've seen it in the short amount of time I've been entertaining. And with the friends that you've made over the years and the women you've influenced, how can you like roughly gauge how many women you've this might not be the correct term, but I'm gonna go with essentially change their lives, their personalities for the better because of your interactions and friendships with them. Like maybe they came in the club being someone that lacked confidence or didn't have faith in themselves or their beauty and stuff like that. And just through time with you, like you've managed to get their finances together or
Yeah.
help them pursue a career or just gave them the confidence they needed to live a happier life.
To be perfectly honest, is going to sound almost ridiculous, but that's happened so many times. Whether just being a friend, becoming a friend at the club, showing them respect, and you really do respect women and friendships. And then I've always wanted to train, so a lot of women like to, we wanted to cut some. I can't tell you how many women say, "Hey, I have my wedding in 3 months. Can you start training me?" I would have to say the answer to your question, as ridiculous as it sounds, it's how many people have changed their lives is in the thousands of thousands. because I've heard it so many times. I mean, I continue to hear it today. I would almost love to read you a text right now that a lady sent me that I was a total stranger that I met Friday night coming in with one of my clients, and I'd never met her before. But the text she sent me like 2 days ago was so nice and so like, I mean, you had to have an effect on her. You know what I mean? Like, she got, oh, will you table dance for me? I said, sure. I said, would you like a regular one, a 20, and a VIP or 60? Oh, just a regular one. And then I did a regular dance for her, and she gave me $100. You know, she just, so.
You made that much of an impact.
Yeah. Well, this is just, I feel like if reading you this message is basically a cultivation of how answering the question you just asked me. This is a person I met for the first time in my life Friday. Didn't know me before, wasn't on my Facebook anyway. She says, hey, my sweet man, I just want to tell you a few things. I'm sure you know I'm married by my profile picture, and I'm sure you also know there are issues, or I wouldn't have been at La Bear on the night of my wedding anniversary with Missy. I have never been to a place like that, and I was amazed at the talent and kindness from all the guys. I want to thank you for making me feel special that night, as it's been a very long time that I have felt that way. Obviously, I'm intrigued by you, or I wouldn't be writing you. I do want to see you next time you're in town, but not sure how that'll work out. Thank you once again for making me feel special and beautiful. Hope to see you next time you come through Dallas.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's absolutely incredible. Like, if that doesn't make you feel, or is not, if that's not rewarding for the things you do and the kindness that you spread, it's I don't know what would.
Yeah, it made my whole week. I mean, if you make one person feel like that, you've done your job so well, you know. And then, but I already had, customers in Dallas, that were there both, Friday and Saturday night that sent me similar messages. But I'd already met them. We had a relationship that, they weren't somebody brand new. So.
Yeah, no, understandable. Yeah, and I mean, it's one of the things that I joke around about, but it's pretty serious that we're unlicensed therapists. We, for as much,
I've said that for years.
Yeah,
that's funny.
As much negativity as the industry gets, sometimes we can create a lot of positivity as well. So let's move on to something a little more lighthearted. Let's say, give us two of your funniest memories, like two of the things you just either couldn't believe happened, or it was just humorous in of itself, or a Hollywood scriptwriter couldn't have done better job.
Things you wouldn't believe. Oh, there's been so many of them. It's crazy. From girls, I'll tell you two super funny ones. There was a guy who danced. His name was Bronze Beauty. I always told the guys, it's their birthday, so everybody wants to buy you a birthday shot. Well, it's your 9th, 10th, 12th person buy you a birthday shot. You're going to be too inebriated to perform your show. So he was drinking and drinking and drinking. I said, Bronze, quit drinking so much. You're not going to be able to finish the night out. And he goes, this is your biggest night of the year. So he goes, so his birthday time comes up. He goes up on set, and we are packed. This is the club on Greenville Avenue.
Okay.
Probably 500 women, and it's only 4,800 square feet. So it would be like the current La Bear is 8,000 square feet. It'd be like 650, 700. So we're all watching. It's his birthday. Lots of girls come down to for his birthday. He had been at the club for quite a while. And then he takes his top off. When he rips his bottoms off, and he's so drunk, he forgot to put his underwear on.
Oh, wow.
He's buck ass naked. And then dancing for a second, for like three seconds. And like guys
until it dawns on him.
Guys were just running down, jumping on stage, trying to cover him up. And then finally he cleared to him like, oh, I'm naked. And I'm like, oh my God, you can't put that in a movie. It's just like, and just to see it live, it's incredible. It's so funny.
Oh, I believe it. I like I said, I'm sure everyone was freaking out, both the women and the men, for different reasons entirely.
Oh yes. And then I've seen, you know, Billy D and guys, go up in the ceiling and do a dance move. I've seen guys fall, and that's not really funny because they get hurt. I've seen a guy break his ankle, seen another guy separate his shoulder. But a funny one is I told you that I used to do the stripper all the time, the stripper song by John Ross, na 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 na. And
Hmm.
right when that part of the song hit, I tore my pants off and I wore like 4, 5, 6 bottoms over my shorts or like tea bags. They were like self-made tea bags, made very cheaply. But I'm actually taking them off, and I would put little funny designs on the front. For a long time, that this Wendy's commercial came out. This very older woman getting a hamburger, then looking at the screen saying, "Where's the beef?" So I put a little round insignia on there with "Where's the beef?" Just funny stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
that's pretty good.
that was a huge souvenir, one of the most popular things. And I would take one off and hold it in the air, and the DJ would say, "Who wants one?" And they would just go crazy. So girls would just bum rush stage. I've had them come crawling up on stage and grab them from me. I used to like take them off if they had long hair. I would make it like a squinchie in their ponytail,
Yeah.
and they would wear it like that for the rest of the night.
Oh
But
wow.
the funny story is like these two girls had been, and I knew them both, not well, but I knew them both. They both said earlier, "Night, hey, when's you string? When's you string?" I said, "Okay, just be down stage." So I was down to my last one. I'd given out four. I took off the last one. DJ, who wants one? And they're all screaming. So I, like a rubber band, I didn't want to give it to one or the other because both of them had told me they want one, and I don't want to like pick one over the other. So I just shot it in the air like a rubber band,
Okay.
and then it's so unusual. They both grabbed a side of it, and they had it at the same time. And they were playing tug of war with, "It's mine, no, it's mine, no, it's mine." And they both pulled, and it just ripped in two.
Hey, at least they both got a prize, I guess.
Yeah, but what happened next is then they started fist fighting.
Oh Jesus.
It was like insane. I had to physically get off stage and separate them. I mean, they were going
That
wheels
that's
at.
yeah,
It
just
was
throwing haymakers.
both hands just flying. I go, "What are you? Stop!" And so I had to physically jump off stage and stop the fight. So that's when you see lots of funny stuff like that.
So, really important question on that, on those giveaways. Did you spray your cologne on those underwear?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So funny. Like the other night, a lady came in. She's seen me, I don't know, 15, 20 years, and she just goes, uh, I walk up, she goes, she's with several of her friends, and she goes, "Oh, it's so good to see you. I'm so happy you're here. We came only to see you, blah, blah, blah." And, they say that, and it's nice and complimentary. We really come to see everybody. And her friend goes, "Wow, you smell so good." She goes, "He smelled the same for 20 years."
Yeah, tell it how it
It's
is.
so funny that they know your cologne,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So, because I get a favorite and I predominantly wear that. You know,
Yeah,
it's in the
same here.
past. It's been Dolce Gabbana, Cool Water, Creed, a bunch of different ones. But it's so funny right now. I get more. I have somebody give me an $80 bottle of cologne, $120 bottle of cologne, and I'll go and get a $6 bottle of bod spray, and I get 30 compliments on that in one night. And I'll wear Creed, which is $2.80 a bottle, and might get two.
Oh wow. Yeah, sometimes it's the body chemistry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So
I'm normally the same way. I go off of that. I go off of whatever smell, scent, or musk gives me the most compliments on a regular basis. That's the one that I end up wearing. And you're
absolutely.
right. It will register with women and they will remember that. And if they catch a whiff of anything that's anything like it anywhere outside, they'll think of you. And it's great. It's a comfort, you know?
So now we're still talking about funny stories. This is a revisit to the G string. So I would spray them pretty heavy, the G strings, and I gave out. And I can't tell you how many women have told me they would take it home and put it in a particular drawer. I
Mm-hmm.
think you know which one I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And they would say, I smell you, and they would stay smelling like that for a long time. Some girls would take it and put it in a little jar with a top on it, like in the room, and they would take the top off and smell it. It's just they really like get your smell.
Oh
Like,
yeah, for sure. The when we do the t-shirt promos at LeBear, I spray my t-shirt with the my cologne. I can't tell you how many times women have told me they've taken that shirt home and wrapped it, used it as a pillowcase for a week
yeah,
until it
sleep in
stops
it.
smelling like me. It's a compliment. I think it's a huge compliment.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it's a feel good moment for sure.
Well, being the very first guy who gave out T-shirts on stage and saw how, that's why Alex ran down there and threw me one, because I used to buy my own, in mass.
Yep.
I would buy 200 at a time and give one out on, even I've given one out on slow nights. And, it's so funny because people remember specific things that happened to them, and they'll come back 4 or 5, 6 years later and say, "Do you remember when I was here? I wore the red dress, and you picked me up on stage. You put the T-shirt on me." I'm like, and you can almost, a lot of times you can remember it. It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, all right, Randy, we're coming up on time, so let's go ahead and start wrapping
Right.
up this show.
Sounds great, buddy.
One
So
last
much,
thing
so much fun to do
question I
this
got
with
for
you.
you is like I said, you have such a wealth of knowledge to pass on to everyone. For any of the up and coming male entertainers that listen to this podcast, what is one or maybe two pieces of advice you would give them to help either jumpstart or create sustainment in their career?
Okay, number one is be trainable and listen to your coach. You need to listen to somebody. If you're talking about LeBear specifically, they need to listen to Taylor or you. They need to get trained properly, correct, have respect for the other dancers, and be coachable. Number two is take the job as a real job. Have passion for it and take action, on the things that you do to continually make yourself better. The third thing I want to say, and this is most important, is the club comes before an individual. And that's maybe one reason why I've been successful for so long, that I got to end up buying the club and own it for almost 10 years, is if the club's not successful, we're not successful as entertainers. It's just that simple. So you have to have that mindset. I can't tell you how many times in 40 years that I did what was best for the club and not what was best for me, because that's the mindset that the guys need to have. What is best for the club is ultimately really best for the individual.
Yep. Yeah, that's it might not reward you short term, but in the long term, it will be most beneficial for everyone.
Hey, maybe I can get a weekly spot where I can do this with you every week.
Yeah. Kind of have Randy's corner, coach's corner.
Absolutely, man. That'd be
Right
fantastic.
on.
I'd love
Sweet.
it.
All right, cool. Well, I think that is going to be a show. So we're going to move on to our worst and best events. So, boss, pretty much everyone, I know you've gotten it over the course of your career. Everyone always asks you, "Oh my God, you're a male entertainer. What's the craziest thing that's happened? What's the best thing that's happened?" So here on the show, I like to end the show by covering your least favorite thing, the thing that might have, kind of sometimes is a negative, and then the best event. I'll go ahead and go first, and then you can pick up after that. So,
Sure.
for me, my worst event is pretty simple. I've discussed on the show several times how I'm okay with ladies taking photos in the club, but I am highly against videos, especially of our routines, because I feel like it downplays the quality of our
Integrity.
show. And so, I mean, it happens, and I try, as well as some of the other entertainers and waiters, try to stop ladies from recording, especially in a world of Snapchat and posting everything on social media and things like that. But this week I was performing shower and my shower routine, and these two ladies ran up to the stage over here in the corner where the shower is at, as close to the shower as possible, and decided that they wanted to record the whole thing. So they turned on their cameras, and obviously because it was dark, it turned on the flashlight. And so it actually bugged me on two separate levels. It bugged me because it was extremely distracting. Like, they had their phones up against the glass, and the only thing I could see is their lights shining back at me. That made it very difficult to maintain the facade and the emotion that routine requires, as well as to engage the crowd. Like, I'm already looking at the crowd through glass that's sometimes wet with water spots and things like that. And now I have this two lights shining back at me. The other thing it was doing is because of the fact that there's condensation and humidity inside, it creates a thicker stain on the glass, and then the light was actually reflecting in a way where it blurs
Shut
half of
your
the
eyes.
image. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now the other women that were trying to enjoy the show had to deal with this as well. And when I was done with the show, I came out and they were there and they were screaming for me. I went over to them and they actually, one didn't have any money and the other one was like, "No, I'm good. I just wanted to watch," and didn't even approach the stage. And so, I brushed it off and went ahead and kept having a good time and celebrated and partied with the rest of the women on stage. But it was just one of those things where like any one of those details by itself might have been okay, but the fact that it was all combined into this one party, it sometimes just annoys me enough to be like, luckily the rest of the stage was amazing and I rocked it and we had a great time and no one was the wiser for it. But, it's ladies like that kind of have a lack of respect for the show that we create that sometimes,
Or
makes you wish
you,
they
or
did.
even you as a person, just having that bottom, just having open respect for somebody who's a performer.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You want me to go on my bad one? Or you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to
Cover
go?
your bad one and then we'll go into our best one after that.
Yeah, I have two bad ones. My first bad one was tearing my knee on stage on Greenville Avenue in one of my really good performances. I had on a $2,500 outfit, which was, the skin of a cow, a Jersey cow, the black and white spots.
Mm-hmm.
I had one that was mixed with a Brahma bull, so the spots were way bigger and not as uniform. Beautiful outfit. I had a duster that went to the ground. You might have seen Mighty Matt wear it one time.
I think so.
And I had a vest and chaps. So it was super heavy. So I was spinning and a lady spilled a frozen margarita on stage. And my plant foot hit that and I tore my knee, my meniscus. So it cost me $7,000, to get, obviously couldn't finish my set, couldn't finish my stage. And then, left for the night, went to the doctor the next day and I had torn my meniscus. So it's in kind of like what you're talking about, being not concerning of you on stage and clients or somebody doing something that's going to affect the show. But then I had to I was out of dancing for 3 weeks and I had to have surgery and it cost me $7,000. That was a downer. The second bad thing was having to move away from Dallas and Bear, my home club, for 35 years because of my mother's sickness and come here to San Antonio. Not being able to, entertain with my boys and, us all get better together and just be basically where I've been all my life.
Yeah. I can understand that. I could definitely understand that. But that actually leads me into my best event, actually, which is my best event was the reunion party, getting kick it with you again for a week. It was a good time. When you get accustomed to
You
having,
copied mine.
yeah, it was great. I mean, it was good to kick it with you. I know we were planning on doing this podcast in person, but obviously schedules. You were a very popular human being when you came into town, and everyone wanted a piece of your time. But
We're for sure going to do it in November.
yeah, without a doubt. But like I said, just kind of having you around and some of the older veterans swapping stories and things like that, and watching and taking their critique about how our shows are and stuff, and some of the people that helped you open up the business and start it, in the early years, hearing their stories and stuff was just a lot of fun. It's always nice to be a part of something that has such a legacy and heritage behind it.
Yeah, that's what's going to be my happy one, but I'll throw you a couple more. Bringing, which brought me a lot of happiness. I done the Great American Strip Off for Playboy Magazine in '86 and then for Playgirl Magazine in '96. So bringing the Great American Strip Off to the club in 1997, that was a big deal. And then getting to see my proteges like you and, just Alex, you, Matt, compete and win the events it's a feeling that you can't really, I don't know. It's like seeing your little brother or your son, be the key player and winning a football game or, a national championship in baseball. It's just so much fun watching you guys compete and win the strip off that I basically brought into the company in 1997, and see the excitement that you have, and when you place or win the event.
Yeah, it's man, that's just awesome. It's actually ironically one of the things that I've thought about myself. I can touch on that on both levels. One of the strip offs, I believe, 2 years ago now. It's hard to say. They kind of the years start to blend into
Jason won.
themselves. But I end up having five of my routines and choreographies in the top seven. So
How
it,
awesome is that?
yeah, it was really rewarding to see that. It was, I didn't think about it till later on. It just kind of randomly, someone had mentioned that, three of them were in the top five. And then I looked and it was awesome. It was a great feeling. So I can imagine seeing that with your own event and just seeing other people carry on your legacy is just awesome. And then as
Yeah,
well with the Red Charity event that I created, I
right.
want to say 4 years ago now. I think
Yeah,
we just had the fourth iteration of it. And so
yeah, because I
I've
was
wondered
there
if
for
that's going
one
to
or two.
continue once I retire.
Absolutely. Now the red event is that separate than the bachelor auction, or is that?
It actually yeah, you were there for the first one, and we actually I continued to take critiques on it and kind of modify it till it became the best thing that I could make it. And
Yeah.
so we actually did away with the bachelor auction and turned it into the red charity drive. So
Okay.
now we do school supplies for elementary school kids, where
Awesome.
people donate it, and then I take it into underprivileged school that Monday and donate it completely independent.
Mm.
Just not even using the LeBaire name. Just kind of, hey, look,
Cool.
we're a group of people that want to do something for the community. Here you go. And then we do a lip sync battle because the fans love it. They actually love
That's
us being comedic or humorous on
awesome.
stage and stuff like that. So, and that so far had success last year, had success this year. So I think that's going to be the tradition going forward.
That's awesome. Hey, real quick on our international strip off in November, what's the format on that show?
That one's going to be our more traditional one. It's a little less elaborate as Sexiest Man. This one, it's going to be, we're going to have the best entertainers line up and compete, and they're going to come up and have a little bit extra time on stage to put forth their more theatrical, more production style routines and stuff like that. So it's just
Okay,
a main routine.
okay, so it's a list of, and everybody dancing their performances in a row. They're not doing like any clothes or anything like that.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
just a
cool.
show.
All right, great. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to be there with you and have you in my act.
Awesome. Definitely. Yeah, we'll talk about that offline, get some rehearsals done. All right, Randy.
Absolutely.
I think we're gonna call that a show, brother. So with that,
All right.
go ahead and let us know where can people reach you at social media wise.
It's my Facebook is Randy Lee Ricks, LeBaire Randy Master Blaster.
Okay, awesome.
And
And that's
my email is Randy RANDYL Ricks RICKS at yahoo.com.
awesome. Sweet. And as always, I am Caesar LeBaire7 on Instagram and Twitter. You can catch my Facebook at Caesar Collazo, Collazo. And then you can find all things Caesar, both my theme song for this podcast as well on stage, this podcast, various photos and stuff like that on CaesarTheCrowdPleaser.com. All right, Randy, thank you so much, boss, for being on the show. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to share your wisdom and knowledge and experiences with us. It means a lot.
I wouldn't miss it for the world. Can't wait. I want to just have Randy's Corner and try and do one every week.
All right, well, this show is every 2 weeks, but I mean, shoot, if anything, I know you won't run out of content either way. So,
No, not at all.
all right, then. So, with that, once again, thank you to all my patrons out there. We really appreciate your support. It means a lot. To all our fans that come to support me, Randy, and the rest of the guys at LeBaire and Hard Bodies, the Gallery, and all those places. Really appreciate it. You're the reason why we keep doing this, putting on the show that we do. You are special to each and every one of us. So until next time, keep bringing the rain.
I am focused, I'm in my zone. You can binge watch like Game of Thrones. Reserve your judgments, don't throw no stones. Oohs and I scream as loud as you don't. Airplane mode on tablets and phones. Caesar's crowd pleasers is now on. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us.